Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened will have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world.
Western Spring Television, ours it is.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the show, Sports Spring on Western Spring Television, where we give you stories making headlines in the ever-busy world of sports. My name is Joseph ATEWEH, saying good morning.
And I am NENGI ADEMOLA. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. A whole lot to talk about, most especially coming in from the king of sports, that's football. The midweek matches in the Nigerian Premier Football League definitely lived up to the hype. And on the international scene for the EFL Cup Round 4, I tell you for sure that the theatre of dreams, rather, is turning into the theatre of nothing as it stands, because Manchester United have definitely not been that team that we would have expected them to be in terms of little competitions. All of this and more is what we're dishing out to you this morning. Welcome on board once again. All
right, we'll start with the Nigerian Premier Football League, and we'll start with week 6, the roundup and the fixtures as it concerns Nigerian football.
Absolutely. Now, the match day 6 midweek fixtures built for Wednesday ended with some interesting and late-minute victories recorded in different match centers in the country. However, it brought a different spark with late-minute victories for Kwara United and Sunshine Stars, as both teams came from behind to pick vital wins. We also know that the Remy Stars Canopilas also secured comfortable home wins, with Aqua United, who picked their first 3 points of the season after 5 matches played. And as been displayed on your screen, that is how the table stands after match day 6 of the Nigerian Premier Football League. But then again, let's give you full-time results of games played yesterday in the NPFL. Now, Kwara United cruised off to a 2-1 victory against Sporting Lagos FC. We also know that Sunshine Stars also definitely cruised off to a 2-1 victory against Abia Warriors. Remy Stars and Shooting Stars, of course, one derby that we never usually miss when it comes to the NPFL. That game ended 3-0 in favor of Remy Stars. Remy Stars right there collecting the bragging right for this particular game. The game between Niger Tornadoes and Eimba FC ended in a goalless draw. Canopilas versus Bayelsa United. Canopilas cruised off to a 3-0 victory against Bayelsa United. Heartland FC and Rivers United surprisingly played out a 1-1 draw yesterday. Plateau United versus Katsina United, 1-0 in favor of Plateau United. Aqua United also definitely secured their very first win of this season against Gombe United, 1-0. That game ended in favor of Aqua United, and has been displayed on your screen one more time. Of course, after match day 6, after the midweek fixtures of match day 6, we do know that Remy Stars now occupy the very top position on the table. Well, congratulations to them for getting top of that table. But we do understand the fact that, of course, it has been a sway of the pendulum. So far, so good when it comes to the NPFL table. And definitely when the season is edging very closer, we'll definitely know who will top the table for a very long time. So Remy Stars, Rangers International, and Shooting Stars, first three on top of the table. We also have fourth as Standard Pillars, Gombe United, fifth, and sixth we have Plateau United FC. Aqua United has definitely jumped up to 16th on the table after being 20th on the table for some time now. We also know that Bayelsa United, Doma United, Aimba International FC, and Heartland FC, they now occupy the very bottom of the table. But then again, today we'll see just one fixture being played. So that game is between Lobby Stars versus Rangers International. Lobby Stars are 8th on the NPFL table. Rangers International also occupies 2nd on the NPFL table. So today we'll see Lobby Stars versus Rangers International on the NPFL match. And that's about it. Information's coming in from the NPFL.
And away from the NPFL, we understand at this point, the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, CAF has ruled out the video assistant referee. They have given their reasons for ruling out the VAR, and that's the latest information we have from CAF.
Absolutely. Now, barely 2 weeks to the opening match day of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, African soccer governing body has made a questionable decisions about the games, saying there won't be usage of VAR. Now, 2 round games will go down in less than 5 days across the continent, and the Confederation of African Football has made some key decisions. The football body on Wednesday morning announced that video assistant referee, which is VAR, will not be available for games. The reason for the decision was not disclosed, but the video technology will likely be back for the remaining match days next year. Nigeria Super Eagles are among the countries that will play in the qualifiers and will host the Crocodiles of Lesotho in the opening games at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. That game is slated for the 16th of November 2023, and definitely we do hope that we get a very first match point in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. But once again, barely 2 weeks to the opening match day of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, African soccer ruling body has made a questionable decision about the game, saying there won't be a usage of VAR. And of course, their reasons for that was not disclosed, but we understand that the technology may likely be back for the remaining match days for next year.
And still with CAF competition, 2 weeks before the start of the qualifiers, the Eritrea Football Federation has officially announced the withdrawal of its national team from the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Now, the rumor has been around for quite some time that the team would not participate in the qualifiers. Initially, they had to face Morocco and Congo in the opening group games of the qualifier before their withdrawal. We also know that no concrete reason has been given for the withdrawal, but it may be connected with the defection of some players. The last time Eritrea played a competitive game was in September 2019 during the qualifying round of the 2022 World Cup, and they lost 2-0 to Namibia.
Well, that's another update rather coming in from the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. We do have a whole lot of news making the rounds when it comes to the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. We've talked about the fact that there would be no usage of VAR when it comes to the qualifiers, but definitely the technology might be available next year in games of the 2026 qualifiers. And we also told you about the fact that Eritrea just pulled out of the 2026 World Cup, and they're still giving you updates as it comes to the 2026 World Cup ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers that will commence in mid-November. Rwanda Football Association has appointed Torsten Frank Spittler as the head coach of the Amavubi. Now, Spittler succeeded Spanish gaffer Carlos Alos Ferrer, who resigned from his duties in August to take up the Belarusian national team job. He agreed to coach the team on a 1-year deal. And the Federation said in a statement released on Wednesday, and I quote, "FEWAFA is pleased to announce that Mr. Torsten Spittler Frank has been appointed as the new head coach of men's Rwanda national team." Now, Spittler's immediate assignment will be the 2026 World Cup doubleheader against Zimbabwe and South Africa, which are both due in November. And apart from South Africa and Zimbabwe, Rwanda will also face Nigeria, Benin, and Lesotho. All are in the same group. Apart from South Africa and Zimbabwe, Rwanda will also face Nigeria, Benin, and Lesotho in the group. I mean, having a very new coach. We'll see how things pans out to be by the time the 2026 World Cup qualifiers kickstart at mid-November 2023. And of course, Joseph, we still have more stories coming in when it comes to the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, as we hear that some of the teams have released their provisional list.
Well, some of the teams have released their list, and that's what we know. We know the South Africa and Zimbabwe has released their lists of the players that will be executing most of the games for them when it comes to the qualifiers.
And of course, the latest one has to be Zimbabwe. Now, the Zimbabwe Football Association, that's ZIFA, on Wednesday afternoon released a list of players that will prosecute their opening round of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Zimbabwe returned to international football about 3 months ago, and after spending over 18 months under the ban by FIFA. The Football Federation named a new coach, Balteman Brito, for the team, and a 4-day training camp was organized for the team in October. The list consists of 28 players, and 16 of them are based outside the shores of Africa, while the rest plays in the South African Premier League. We also know that Zimbabwe will face Rwanda in Huye in the opening game of the qualifier before facing the Super Eagles in the second game at the same venue. As been displayed on your screen, that is one of the provisional list, of course, released by the Zimbabwe Football Association. And of course, that of South Africa is also being displayed on your screen.
And away from that, the Confederation of African Football on Wednesday listed Nigeria's forward Victor Osimhen, Egypt's Mohamed Salah, and 27 others as contenders for the 2023 Men's African Player of the Year Awards. Now, CAF further announced the Gala Awards are due to be held on the 11th of December 2023 in Marrakesh, Morocco, on their official website. And looking at some of the players, there's Vemi Ben Sam Baudi, plays for Algeria and Borussia Dortmund, Riyad Mahrez, Algeria, and Al Ali. There's also Edmond Topsoba, Burkina Faso, and Bayern Leverkusen, Vincent Abubakar of Cameroon and Besiktas. There's also Seko Fofana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Al Nas, Mamadou Abdel Monen, Egypt, and Al Ali, Mohamed Salah, Egypt, and Liverpool. And of course, you have Victor Osimhen, Nigeria, and Napoli, not forgetting Thomas Partey of Ghana and Arsenal.
Absolutely. So many of them, you know, on that particular list. Just to also join Joseph to mention some of the names. We also have Mohamed Kudus, who plays a straight in Ghana and West Ham United. We also have Bissouma of Mali and Tottenham Hotspur. We have Achraf Hakimi of Morocco and Paris Saint-Germain, and not leaving out the likes of Sofiane Amrabat, who plays straight in Morocco, and also Manchester United. Yassine Bono is definitely included in this particular nomination, Morocco and Al Ali. And lastly, we have Yusuf El Nasri, who plays straight in Morocco and Sevilla. Those are some of the names, of course, on not forgetting Sadio Mane also. Sadio Mane, Senegal, and Al Nassr. We also have Pape Matassa of Senegal and Tottenham Hotspur. Those are a few of the names on the nomination list for the 2023 African Player Award, and that's about it. And before we go on our very first break, let's also take our time to give you updates coming in from the world of unlimited sports, as I usually call it, most especially starting with tennis as it concerns Nigeria. Now, the World Table Tennis Open continued in Frankfurt, Germany, and it was a day to forget for the Nigerian star Aruna Quadri. Aruna arrived at the competition brimming with confidence after he successfully defended his African title. The Nigerian international was expected to roll over the Denmark international, Jonathan Groth, who is making his debut in the competition, but it was never meant to be. Groth produced a magnificent performance to bundle out Aruna with a commanding 3-0 victory. The result was shocking to the entire table tennis world, and after Aruna's outstart, the hope of Africa now rests with Omar Assar of Egypt, who secured a 3-1 win in his games. There you have it. The World Table Tennis Open continued in Frankfurt, Germany, and it was a day to forget for the Nigerian star Aruna Quadri. He was knocked out by Jonathan Groth in that particular WTT Open.
All right, just before we go on the break here, we understand that the world of hockey, Nigeria will face Ivory Coast in a 2024 Olympic qualifying game, and it's Nigeria versus Ivory Coast when it comes to hockey. And that's the situation.
Absolutely, that's the situation on board. And just to give you more updates coming from that, of course, everyone is trying to, pitch themselves perfect to get into the Paris 2024 Olympics qualifier. Do not forget that we also have the Super Falcons, who are already close to the penultimate rounds when it comes to the Paris 2024. And then in hockey, we know the Nigerian hockey women's senior national team will on Thursday, which is today, play Kenya in the semi-final of the 2024 African Hockey Olympics qualifier. Do not forget that Kenya defeated Namibia 1-0 in their final Pool B match at the University of Pretoria in South Africa on Wednesday. And we also know that a 53rd minute goal from Grace B. Wire ensured the East Africans finished their group unbeaten with 9 points from 3 matches to book a semi-final clash with Nigeria. Well, we wish them all the very best as the Nigerian hockey women's senior national team today plays against Kenya in the semi-final of the 2024 African Hockey Olympics qualifier.
All right, let's go on a break and give you highlights from some of the matches played yesterday. When we come back, more analysis on those games and, of course, more stories making headlines. We'll be back.